Hello, I'm Michael Duval, lead pastor of Journey Church. We are delighted that you're worshiping online with us today. We pray that you'll have a sense of God's presence. Even though we are scattered in our community and around the world, we are the Church of Christ, seeking to make a difference. We don't pretend we're perfect at Journey, but to the best of our abilities, we're trying to pattern our lives after Jesus. The band is going to come and lead us in worship. And again, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning. We are so glad that you're back this week. We are so excited to get started with some praise songs, but we want to make sure that you tag your friends and share this page because we want as many people as we can collectively worshiping this morning. We're so glad to see you. So everybody gather around your screens. We're getting ready to get started with one called Holy Water. Y'all ready? All right, here we go. Abby's going to lead us on this one. Y'all ready to sing? Come on, sing it out.
God, I'm on my knees again. God, I'm begging, please again. I need you. Oh, I need you. Walking down these desert roads, water for my thirsty soul. I need you. Oh, I need you. Your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips, like the sound of a symphony to my ears, like holy water on my skin. Oh, yeah. Dead man walking, slave to sin. I wanna know about being born again. I need you. Oh God, I need you. So take me to the riverside. Take me under, baptize. I need you. Oh God, I need you. Your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips, like the sound of a symphony to my ears, like holy water on my skin. On my skin. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. Your forgiveness. Oh, it's like sweet, sweet honey on my lips, like the sound of a symphony to my ears. It's like holy water, your forgiveness. Oh, it's like sweet, sweet honey on my lips, like the sound of a symphony to my
you so. We thank you for your holiness, God. You are a great God. We worship you today. We lift you up in this place, in our homes. Sing it out. You give life. You are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Thank you, God. Great are you, Lord. Sing it out. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you, holy. We pour it out, God. Let's really pour it out, church. Come on, let's sing that again. Lift it up. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. Come on, sing it out. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you, holy. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you, holy. So, Lord, we pour out our praise in our homes. We want to cover our homes with your praise, God, because we know that you inhabit our praise. We want to cover our homes with praise. Let's lift it up. Come on. All the earth will shout. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Come on, sing it out. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. The Bible says the rocks will even cry out. Come on. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Come on. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you, holy. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you, holy. To you only, God, Amen. Amen. Thank you so much for joining us on our worship.
There you go. Julie, Eunice, and I are so glad you could join our prayer group Lord knows we need prayer now more than ever.
Amen, sister. Barbara and I just love to lift the needs of others up in prayer.
Well, I appreciate your invitation.
Well, enough of this chitter chatter. We got to get this show on the road. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but the Hendersons are in real need of prayer. Tom Henderson lost his job.
Did you see Tom Jr.'s haircut the other day? It looked like a porcupine on Red Bull.
I hear Tom Sr. spends all day on the computer, looking at the internet, watching videos on the YouTube.
That's probably why he got fired.
Oh, no. His boss caught him on the surveillance camera playing Texas Hold'em.
Hold them accountable, I say. I mean, it's one thing for housewives like us to have hobbies, but he is a man of the church. He has a family. He should know better. I would like to lift up Verna Carlson. She has not been feeling very well.
What's wrong with her?
Well, I heard it was her weight, 5 pounds in 1 week.
More like 15. Someone needs to tell her that eating ice cream will not save her demonic children.
Oh, don't we know it? That little Jeffrey almost ruined the service the other day, singing at the top of his lungs for all the world to hear.
So wrong.
I have a prayer request. The Whitmans are going back to Peru for a month to build houses.
Oh, they worked so hard over there in that poor country. That's a good prayer request.
They're such a nice couple, and her apple pie was the hit of the bake sale.
Oh, yeah, but what about that V-neck sweater? I mean, if it had been any lower, well, I just didn't think that it was becoming.
I noticed that too. I didn't want to say anything.
And let's not forget the dress that she wore last Easter.
I noticed that too. I didn't want to say anything.
I have another prayer request for us because we're just sitting here gossiping, and I was thinking that, we shouldn't be tearing down our brothers and sisters. We should be edifying them and lifting them up. So we should probably pray for ourselves.
Well, I guess you're right.
We should know better.
Yes, we should.
No, I do it too. I mean, last week at the picnic, I told everybody that Betty's son was going to jail, and I found out he's going to Yale.
Well,
How?
I don't know what happened to us.
You know who's really bad at gossip?
Who?
Someone you count on makes a promise to you and then breaks it. A friend takes a secret that you shared in confidence and goes right out and tells someone else. A business partner gains your trust and then uses it to hurt you financially. You work for an employer loyally for years, and then you get terminated unfairly. Someone who has said that they are committed exclusively to you has an affair with someone else right under your nose. Betrayal. Every one of us likely has experienced it in some way. It strikes at the core of our being. It stabs us in the heart. It wounds us deeply. When an enemy hurts us, that may not really be much of a surprise. We know to keep our guard up, to watch our back. But betrayal is being hurt by someone we've trusted. A friend, a spouse, a coworker, a boss. It sends us reeling like we've been hit in the stomach by a sucker punch. Whenever we trust someone else, we're vulnerable. Whenever we enter into a relationship of intimacy or closeness, there is risk involved. One of the first developmental stages of infancy has to do with learning to trust. Each of us decides daily whether or not we think the world is a place that can be trusted. Like a person who parachutes from a plane, we decide whether or not we trust someone or something to hold us up so we don't fall. And when our trust is betrayed, our life can come crashing down on us. It overturns our sense of what or who we can rely on, what is real or true. when we experience the anguish of betrayal, we may begin to wonder, can I trust anybody? We don't want to ever be hurt like that again. Maybe it would be safer just to never trust anyone again. The Bible says that the greatest commandment is to love God and to love people. Betrayal is acting unlovingly to those we're supposed to love and to wound them instead. Betrayal is failing to love. That's why betrayal is so damaging. It's being rejected by someone we trust. It's being treated unlovingly by someone who is supposed to care for us. The storm of betrayal may have descended on you very early in life. When you were a small child and you should have only known love and caring, you were neglected, abandoned, ridiculed, maybe even abused by the very ones who were supposed to love you, your parents. And now you find it hard to be vulnerable with anyone, to trust anyone. Maybe you're dealing with betrayal in your work environment. In your business, double dealing and backstabbing are the norm. Loyalty means nothing. Betrayal is violating trust, and it can ruin lives. I know of 2 high-level executives who talked about their faith and how they were serious Christians in order to get others to trust them, but they were embezzling from the company the whole time. One person in the company was so devastated by the betrayal's financial repercussions that he committed suicide. Here's another example of betrayal. A guy who owned a number of fields in California hired illegal immigrants from Mexico to harvest his crops. He said to them, "If you'll work here all summer, I'll give you food and a place to live, but I'll keep your salary each week so you won't blow it. At the end of the summer, I'll give it all to you, and you'll have a summer's worth of earnings to take back to your family." The workers agreed to this. But on the last week of the summer, the owner anonymously called the immigration authorities and reported the illegal workers. The immigrants were deported, and the landowner ended up only paying a small fine, a fraction of what he would have paid out in wages. The betrayed workers got absolutely nothing. What are we to do when we're betrayed? How are we to respond? First, don't blame yourself. There was this couple who had not been married very long. Their marriage was extremely rocky, so they went to talk to a counselor. This is what the husband told the therapist. "One night, I didn't come home. My wife went to my parents' home to see if I was there, and she found me in bed with another woman. I told her, here's what happened. Some folks from our work went out for drinks, and we decided to share a cab to save money. After everyone else had been dropped off, besides the woman and myself, I had the driver drop us off at my folks' house. This woman lived a long way off, and it would have costed too much for a taxi, so I was going to borrow their car and take her home. But my parents were gone, and it was late, so I laid down in my parents' bed to rest a while. Well, the furnace wasn't working right, and it got cold. So after I had fallen asleep, this woman got in bed where I was sleeping to get warm. The next thing I knew, my wife showed up. Well, the counselor was about to tell the guy not to insult their intelligence with such a story when the wife said, "And I believed him." Can you believe it? Facing the truth of betrayal would have been so painful for her that she was not ready to see it yet. She was in denial. But after a while, when she caught him cheating again, she wasn't in denial anymore. She was angry. She was angry at her husband, but she was also angry at herself. She blamed herself for not seeing it sooner. When we're betrayed, we may be tempted to say that we should have seen it coming. We berate ourselves and say, "How could I have been so blind?" We need to realize that we're not to blame. We're the ones who were wronged. None of us ever deserves to be betrayed. Here's a second principle for dealing with betrayal. Don't seek revenge. Let's admit it. That's a first impulse for most of us when we're betrayed. When we're humiliated and we're angry, we tend to want to inflict punishment on the one who hurt us. There was a story in the Los Angeles Times about a guy who was going through the classified ads. He found a virtually new Porsche that was for sale. It was in mint condition and it had very few miles on it. The Porsche was listed for sale for $50. Well, apparently he was the only person who took the ad seriously. He went to the home, he saw the condition of the car, and he bought it on the spot. Before he left, he asked the woman that he bought it from, "How come you're selling a car like this for $50? She said, "I'll tell you why. This car used to belong to my husband, but that snake in the grass had an affair with another woman and left me. He didn't even have the courage to do it face to face. He just left a note saying, 'I'm leaving you. You can keep everything. The house, the bank accounts, the kids. Just sell the Porsche and send me the money.'" It feels like justice, doesn't it? We want to hurt back. But Leviticus 19:18 says, "Do not take revenge on others or continue to hate them, but love your neighbors as you love yourself. I am the Lord." Revenge is not a healthy way to deal with betrayal. It is to act unlovingly too. It really doesn't help. It still leaves us bitter. Like the guy who went to go see a doctor because a dog had bitten him. The doctor tested him and said, "I'm sorry, you've got rabies." Well, the guy took out a pen and a piece of paper and he started writing stuff down. And the doctor figured that the guy must have thought it was terminal and he'd begun to make out his will. And so the doctor said, "You're going to be okay. You don't have to make out your will. Rabies can be cured." The guy said, "I know. I'm just making a list of those people that I'm going to bite." Walking down the road of revenge and resentment can consume you. You'll never get even. Eventually, it will destroy you. In dealing with betrayal, make the commitment to refuse to gossip. Do you remember the pain of being the subject of gossip when you were young? Maybe you shared your deepest secret with someone that you trusted, and your friend went out and blabbed it, and the news spread like wildfire, and you pretended it wasn't a big deal, but it was. It hurt. Proverbs 11:13 says, "No one who gossips can be trusted with a secret, but you can put confidence in someone who is trustworthy." Gossip can tear down a person's self-esteem so fast. Make no mistake about it. Gossiping is a form of betrayal. And here's something I believe is absolutely crucial for living in a world where disloyalty and betrayal are often the standard operating procedure. Be trustworthy. Decide, as God helps me, I will honor my promises. I will keep confidences. I will not use or manipulate or deceive people. In dealing with betrayal, we need to be careful that we ourselves don't fall into the same pattern of behavior. We need to live lives that are true. Proverbs 14:25 says, "Souls are saved by truthful witness and betrayed by the spread of lies." One of the ways that betrayal is often perpetrated is through the telling of untruths, through lying. Anytime we lie, it is a betrayal of trust. And once you start lying, it can quickly become a habit, and it can destroy whatever credibility you might have. Destructive habits can be passed on from one generation to the next. Some of you may have come from backgrounds, homes and families, where betrayal was an ongoing pattern. It became a cycle of behavior, repeating itself again and again, and the consequences have crushed your life. Oftentimes, without realizing it consciously, you act in ways that bring more betrayal into your life. Please decide that you are going to break this cycle. Don't set yourself up for betrayal. Don't put yourself in positions with people where you know they're going to do you wrong, where you know people are going to cheat you, where you know people are going to be unfaithful to you. Proverbs 13:20 says, "Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm." Carefully choose those people you're going to trust. Avoid those people who have shown themselves to be dishonest and deceitful. Don't contribute to the breaking of your own heart. Be loyal in tough times. Someday, you are going to face a crossroads. You're going to have to decide if you're going to stick with people you should be loyal to, or you're just going to walk away and leave them in the lurch. When John Ortberg was in graduate school, he and some friends decided that they were going to kidnap a friend who was having a birthday. So they got a few 6-packs of Pepsi and a bag of donuts to throw him a party. As they sat in the car waiting for him to come out of his work, it was a counseling center so that they could grab him. They put ski masks on their heads to make things seem more realistic when they pounced on him. But he didn't come out of work at his regular time. Now, these guys were graduate students, but they weren't particularly bright graduate students. You see, the counseling center was in a crime-infested area of town. And when neighbors saw these guys with ski masks on, they did not assume it was for a birthday celebration. Well, 2 of the guys decided to go in and to get their friend. Of course, they did not think about how the patients who were suffering from varying delusional and persecution complexes, how they might react to guys in ski masks. Soon the guys inside the clinic heard the screeching of tires as 5 police cars came screeching up. They surrounded their friends whom they had left in the car. Now these law enforcement guys burst on the scene like Clint Eastwood, and they shouted through a megaphone, "Throw down your weapons." Now the guys wanted to explain their way out of it, but they couldn't because they had already eaten all the donuts by that time. The 2 would-be kidnappers inside the clinic, well, they faced a dilemma. Would they go outside and admit that they were part of the scheme, or would they run? Would they be loyal to their friends, or would they just take off? At first, they started to slip away. But then they decided to return and to face the music with their friends. Proverbs 17:17 says, "A friend is always loyal, and a brother is born to help in time of need." But there are times when people don't remain loyal, and it can damage a relationship for life. Friends are supposed to be people that when they say, "Trust me," they mean it and follow through. But when they turn their back on us, we can become so angry, and that anger can poison our lives if we don't handle it properly. To deal healthily with betrayal, there's one more thing that's required. Be forgiving. Forgiving means letting go of the hurt and the anger inside of us that can just eat us alive. Forgiveness means not allowing the hurt to continue to control us. Forgiving the one who betrayed us is something we need to bring healing to our own souls. Listen to what Colossians 3:13 says. "Bear with each other and forgive each other. If someone does wrong to you, forgive that person because the Lord forgave you." Let's face it, forgiving is not easy. I mean, whoever said it was? But we are to forgive others because Christ has forgiven us. Probably one of the most famous pictures from the Vietnam War was a picture of a 9-year-old girl running in terror from a village that had napalm dropped on it. Her name was Kim Phu. The photographer who took the picture rushed her to a hospital. She was so badly burned that her chin was grafted to her chest. She had to go through several surgeries, but she survived. For a long time, she was used by the Vietnamese government for propaganda purposes. Eventually, she escaped the country of her birth. She became a Christian. She committed her life to God. The guy who ordered the strike on that village in Vietnam was named John Plummer. He had thought all the civilians had been evacuated. When he saw the picture of what that bombing had done to the little girl, it almost destroyed him. His life just spiraled downward. He got divorced. He abused alcohol for a long time. But eventually, he also became a Christ follower. 25 years after that tragic event, Kim Phu was invited to speak at the Vietnam War Memorial. Plummer learned about it, and he went to hear her. In her speech, she said that she had forgiven those who had hurt her. Plummer had the opportunity to speak with her, and all he could say was, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." And that little girl, now all grown up, put her arms around him and said, "I forgive you. I forgive you." Forgiveness is the only thing that can heal the deepest scars that the storms of life can inflict. We're not to forgive because the one who betrayed us deserves it, but because the alternative is to spend a lifetime filled with bitterness and resentment. If your capacity to trust others has been damaged by betrayal, if you avoid intimate relationships because you're afraid of being vulnerable, and you think someone might take advantage of you again, if you struggle with ever really opening up yourself and loving anyone again, please realize this. God does not want the pain of betrayal to wreck your life forever. God wants to help you to pick up the pieces of your life and to start anew, to move forward with courage and with hope. Because there is one person who will never let you down. This is what God says. "But I will not take away my love from you, nor will I ever betray my faithfulness." That is a promise you can depend on. God will always love you. God will never betray you. It is a truth you can count on. And I hope that you will count on it with all of your heart. Would you pray with me? Holy and loving God, so many of us have been hurt in so many ways. People have acted unlovingly toward us. People have betrayed us. People we trusted have taken advantage of us. And we struggle with that, God. We wonder if we can ever forgive them. And yet, God, you say to us that if we don't forgive, we hold on to that bitterness and that resentment, and it damages us. So, Lord, help us to learn to forgive freely, not to allow ourselves to be hurt again, but not to carry the anger inside anymore. Help us, God, to be honest enough with ourselves to see how we have been untrustworthy, how we have betrayed others, how we have lied and not told truth to others. Convict that of us, that we might change the things inside of us that we need to change. Lord, those of us who are followers of Christ, help us to be truth tellers. Help us to be loving examples of Jesus to others. And in the midst of the brokenness of this world, May we show that becoming more like Jesus is the very best life possible. Lord, in this time in our nation, help us realize that as the church, we are to be the light of the world. And we are to proclaim hope. And that darkness is not going to win out. But God, you continue to be at work. Help us to trust in that. We pray this in the name of Jesus, who never abandons or forsakes us. Amen. Now, if you're watching on Facebook Live or on our website, if you'd like, you can download questions that go along with today's message. And you can use those for your personal devotional time, or you can share them in your family, or you may even go online with people in your journey groups and have discussions about that this week as you seek to develop in your faith. We want to offer you the opportunity that you can contribute financially to the life-changing ministries of our church. Because the church continues to be the church whether we're gathered together or we're scattered. One of our mission partners is the Roanoke Rescue Mission. And when you contribute financially to our church, part of the funds that you give, we give to mission partners like that to care for the homeless and the hurting and the hungry. Thank you for doing that. And you can give online financially on our website. You can do it by texting it in. You can call our church office for electronic funds transfer. There are a multitude of ways that you can do that. We thank you so much for believing in the mission of Christ Church and Journey Church and for giving to support that. And friends, I hope and I pray that you are being careful, taking care of yourself, and at the same time being in the love of Christ in our community. Thank you so much, and God bless.
We hope you will join us on our final praise song, Mighty to Save. Yeah, let's put those hands together. Come on. Yeah, that's right. Our God is so good in this place today. Lord, we just worship you. We thank you for your salvation. Everyone needs compassion. Let's sing it together. Here we go. Everyone needs compassion, love that's never failing. Let mercy fall on me. Sing it out. Everyone needs forgiveness, the kindness of a Savior, the hope of nations. Yeah. All right, come on, let's really sing it out. Sing it out. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save. Come on. Forever, author mighty to save. He is mighty to save forever. Author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. Come on. Savior, He can move the mountains. He's mighty. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save forever. Author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. Shine your light, and let the whole world see. We're singing for the glory of the risen King. Jesus, shine your light and let the whole world see. We're singing for the glory of the risen King. Yeah. All right. I'm so glad to hear you all out there. You sounded great out there. We are so glad that you joined us today. And we hope that if you would like to join us in our virtual lobby, you will do so. And that way you can talk to your friends there and connect with maybe some new friends. And so there'll be a link below that you can click on. There's also some instructions on your screen about if you need a prayer request that you can follow. And so we are looking forward to seeing you again next week. And make sure you bring a friend. We'll see y'all next week.